Hey guys, Ashen1 here, and welcome to this Final Fantasy VII Remake video for the Pro Difficulty Pull-Up Challenge. Now I really struggled with this, found it very difficult, and you're going to need a perfect run to beat this guy. So, here are 3 things to help you do this, which I found really useful. Number 1 would be to cover up the left side of the screen. Now, I know this looks a little bit drastic, but there is so much to distract you on the left side of the screen. You've got NPC dialogue constantly popping up, you've got Jules and all of his movements, whether he's struggling, going into turbo mode, or whether he's falling off, and you've got his score as well. And I found myself looking at him more than concentrating what I was doing with Tifa. And what you really need to be doing is considering your button input and your timings, and everything on the left hand side of the screen just made that more difficult for me. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to remember your accelerator button. Now the accelerator button is the button that you start each round with, and every 6th pull-up will require us to repeatedly tap this button. So as I start round 1, my accelerator button is circle. And it also helps to remember the buttons that come before and after your accelerator button, because that way you can just keep the flow going and you can rack up the score as best as possible. Of course, the speed at which you can input your button commands, that all comes down to muscle memory. It's something you need to get a feel for. You will become more confident doing it. And if you're going to try this 50 times like I did, you will become a pro with your timings, but hopefully it won't be that bad for you guys. Tip number 3 is to pair your buttons. So I take triangle and square, pair number 1, circle and X, pair number 2. So the reason I did this was to divide and conquer the task in my mind. So I kept thinking about patterns and flow and crossover of the buttons on the controller, and it distracted me and it put me off and it just had me failing so often. So now my task had just become push 2 buttons and then push another 2 buttons, and those pairs are separate, and just rinse and repeat. And because the second pair in the combination had the accelerator button as the last button, it just had a really nice flow to it, and it meant that muscle memory took over and I beat this guy quite comfortably, which is great because I was sick of seeing his smug face. So I should just say that Jules does give you a bit of breathing space. So he falls quite early on in the first round, and then in the second round he struggles quite early on, but then with 5 seconds left to go of the second round, he will fall, and that's when you have to overtake him. That's your window of opportunity. So I will just say that when I put my gym top, as ironic as that sounds, over the left hand side of the screen, I did this on my second attempt after about 2 hours. So definitely try that out. And thank you for watching. I'll play the challenge uninterrupted for you now, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!
Okay, let's have some fun.
Woo! So much training do you do? You're better than I thought. You are in the zone.
Who'd have thought it'd be this close?
I believe in you.
Poetry in motion.
How much training do you do? You're better than I thought.
You are in the zone.
You're better than I thought.
Who'd have thought it'd be this close?
How much training do you do?
Poetry in motion.
I believe in you. Yeah, you show that sissy how it's done.
You are in the zone. Slow and steady. 1, 2, 1, 2.
You're better than than I thought. How much training do you do?
Who'd have thought it'd be this close?
I believe in you! I can hear your muscles crying out in joy and pain!
Gotta learn from this for next time.